but I want to make sure we go over all the answers real quick. So we already did number 1. Stop me if you need more explanation. I'm going to go through a little bit fast. Number 2, we got amplitude of 1. Period is 2 pi. Vertical shift -2. No phase shift, no reflection. So think about what you can eliminate. You need a vertical shift of -2. So only B or D could work, obviously. And then it's just a matter of sine versus cosine. D is a cosine graph and B is a sine graph. So it's going to be B. Number 3, amplitude is 1. Running whenever the period is 2. And I think I pretty much already told you the answer. It was D for this one. The period there is between like pi over 2 and pi. For number 4, amplitude is +4. Period is 2 pi. Vertical shift, there's none. Phase shift, we're going to go minus pi over 3. And there is a reflection over the x-axis. So a little bit more challenging on this one. However, there's no vertical shift. So you could eliminate B. You could also eliminate C, because you can see C is not centered. It goes up to 5 and down to -3, so it has a vertical shift also. So narrow down, you should pretty much always be able to narrow down the 2 of them. From here, it's a little trickier. They both have an amplitude of 4, which is good. And the period is 2 pi. But you got to think about this phase shift of being -pi over 3. And it's a sine graph. So -pi over 3, we're going to be going to the left pi over 3 for a sine graph. And period has to be 2 pi. So the only one that works is D, because this one, it's also reflected too. All right, isn't it reflected? All right, yeah, it's reflected, so it's going to be down to start. This one, you can see the sign would be from here to here. It's reflected down. That's going to the right. This one, the sign would be from here to here, going from to the left. And we want to choose the minus pi over 3, so we want to choose the left one. All right, this one, amplitude is 1, period is 2 pi, no vertical shift. Phase shift is going to be to the right pi over 3, no reflection. So we just need a cosine that shifted to the right. We can, again, eliminate a couple. We can eliminate this one and this one because they have a vertical shift. And narrowing it down between these two, a cosine starts at the top. Then we want to go to the right pi over 3. So that's going to be this one from here to here. Whereas this one will be from here to here, and that'll be to the left. This one's to the right. So that's going to be B. For number 6, amplitude 4, period 2 pi, vertical shift no, phase shift no, reflection over the x-axis for those 4. So a cosine normally starts at the top, which means it will start at the bottom now, and it's amplitude of 4. You're going to again eliminate B and C. D starts at the bottom, so that's the one we want because it's reflected, which means the cosine starts at the bottom. Number 7, amplitude of 3, period 2 pi, does have a vertical shift of 5, no phase and no reflection. So we're going to be a cosine vertical shift of 5, which means the midline should be 5. So look at where the midlines are on these. It's a little bit challenging, but the midline on this one will be somewhere, well, if you put it at 5, clearly that's not going to work because it has to have an amplitude of 3. That wouldn't work out. So it's not that one. This one only has an amplitude of 1. And ours has to have an amplitude of 3, so B won't work. This one, if you went to 5, put at the midline there, amplitude of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 works. So it seems like that one will have to work. This one doesn't work because the shift up 5 and midline will be there. So it'd be C. Number 8, amplitude of 5, reflect period, it's 2 pi still, vertical shift no, phase shift is going to be to the right pi, and it does have a reflection over the x-axis. Let's So amplitude of 5 means we can eliminate B. Clearly doesn't have an amplitude of 5. These other ones are a little bit confusing because we have to reflect, which means we're going to start at the bottom, but we're also phase shifting. All of these do have an amplitude of 5. So narrowing down, this phase shift is going to be to the right pi. So if we were to start with this one, it could be from here to here, the right pi, and that fits everything. This one would have to be from here to here, but it's not shifted to the right pi, so that one doesn't work. And then this one has to be from like here to here, and clearly the period isn't 2 pi on this one, so it's like we want to go A. So C is the correct answer there. That one's a little bit challenging to tell between those two, as I didn't see. Number 9, amplitude is 2. Period is 2 pi over pi. So that's the B. So it's 2. Period is 2. No vertical shift, no phase shift, no reflection. And this is a sine, which means we should start at the middle. So not this one, because this is a cosine. This one's also a cosine. See it started at the top. So it's got to be C or D. And we want the period to be 2. This one has a period of 2 pi from here to here. This one, if we start here and end here, does have a period of approximately 2. Because this is a pi. I know it's kind of hard to read, but that would be the only one that works. So C. Number 10, amplitude of 3. Period here is 2 pi over 2. So B. So period is pi. No vertical, no phase, no reflection. So a sine starts in the middle. Period of pi would be this one, and it does have an amplitude of 3. So it would be D. Number 11, amplitude is 2. The period on this one, be careful, it's a fraction. 2 pi over a half. Remember, you have to keep change flip. So it becomes 4 pi as the period. 4 pi. Vertical shift minus 2. No phase. It does have a reflection. So I would look for the one that looks like it has a period of 4 pi, first of all. It's a little bit tricky. And you can pretty much narrow it down. I think it has to be D, right? Yeah, it's the sine, vertical shift down to, all of it down to. Is it B? Yeah. B. And then the last two are B and C. B and C. The quiz will be very similar to this tomorrow. So study that, make sure you can do all that. BBC.